We are Steve and Jill.
Together, we've been buying and reselling land since the 90s.
Our data-centric approach leaves our buyers asking, how can you sell it so cheap?
Here on the Land Academy Show,
We answer that and more. I'm Steve and Jack Butala.
And I'm Jill DeWit, and this is the Land Academy Show.
All week this week, we are talking about the 8 A's that make up your land business.
Yep.
And the due diligence portion of your land business. Today, we are talking about attributes.
Yep, and we are on day 4 of 5. Today is Thursday. Monday we discussed affordable. Tuesday we did access and adjacent. Yesterday we did acreage. Today we're going to talk about attributes. And then tomorrow we're going to give you number 6, 7, and 8, which are alive, abundance, and afraid. And again, like Jack just said, this started with Jack, gosh, I don't know how many years ago, probably 20 or 30 years ago, came up with these A's as a way to make sure that you're making good acquisition decisions. Probably because acquisition starts with an A. You have an A thing. I kind of like.
I don't know.
So.
Hey, you need an acquisition criteria.
Yep.
A model of what the perfect property is.
Yep. And you need to make sure that it's a good property. And by having these 8 A's, it's your little checklist to make sure you're making good decisions.
Each day on the show, we answer a question from our Land Academy member Discord forum and take a deep dive into land-related topics by popular request.
Okay. Mike wrote, can you describe the process of buying and selling a piece of land from the very beginning to the end? How is it different from flipping a house? Well, I could do this. Give me an hour. Just kidding. You want to go first?
Sure.
Okay.
Number 1, you establish your acquisition criteria and how much money you want to make that month and that year. We use the equity planner for that, number 1. Now you have an acquisition criteria and just a gauge about how much money you want to make. Most people never make it past that point. And you don't need to be a member of Land Academy. Just sit down with a piece of paper. I want to make a couple $100,000 this year. I want to do 12 deals, and I know that it takes, 8 to 10,000 mailers to generate one deal to fulfill that type of acquisition. How much mail I need to send X amount of mail. That's it. You don't need a 10th grade education, and you don't need anybody or anything other than a piece of paper and a pencil to figure that out. But if you don't do it, you're kind of flying blind. Number 1. That's step 1. Step 2 is you need to start to look around on the internet for places in the country that allow you to fulfill your acquisition criteria goal and your financial goal that you established in step 1. We call it trolling. So you do that. Number 3 is you find places that seem to work based on our trolling methodology, and you test them. You don't guess. You don't think that central Wisconsin is a fantastic place, so I'm going to send mail there and just try it and see what happens. You test those zip codes to make sure that what's happened there in the past fulfills your acquisition criteria in number 1. This next step, I don't know which number we're on, it doesn't matter, is you send mail out there. You send mail. You do a mailer. You send blind offers that are priced correctly within reason, and you expect a certain number of responses to fulfill that acquisition criteria in number 1. Number 4, or probably number 5, you manage the inbound or influx of responses to your mailer. And this is where I bow out. Jill takes over. Oh, she's thinking about something else.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
What are you thinking about?
I'm just...
Are you enjoying the weather today?
I kind of am. You're good. I just figured you were going to take the whole question, so I'm just kind of letting you run with it. It's okay.
It's early October. And,
you're doing a good job.
This
morning
the leaves
30
degrees.
Yeah.
It's Jill's favorite time of year. So
I love fall.
We mull. Last night we mulled.
Cider.
Local cider.
Yeah.
And put a little
by the fire.
Some of us maybe put some vodka in it. Yeah.
And some of us put some maple whiskey from Canada in it. Wonder who's who.
Jill's happy when we're not talking about acquisitions.
Especially because it's 100 degrees back in Arizona. I'm not going there anytime soon.
You're managing the inflow of we can do that because of these 8 A's.
That's true.
Managing the influx of offers. Jill does that on the phone, and she literally creates real estate deals. So she picks up where I left off. I make her phone ring. I jam her pipeline full with the acquisition opportunities. She picks the 2 or 3 or 4 a month or whatever it ends up being for you that she loves, creates a real estate deal, and then the rest of the from start to finish involves buying the actual property. Jill has staff for that, as do our Land Academy Pro members use our staff to do it for their own deals.
They'll get the deal done for you.
She buys it and then resells it. And there's a little steps in between, and that's what Land Academy the program is all about, is filling in, answering all your questions in the tiny details.
Now, the difference between flipping a house is, well, first of all, the way that we do houses is we're not doing any renovations. So we are buying them and selling them in their current condition there. But the biggest difference is you've got to have eyes on it. You got to have inspections. There's other things. You need to know what you're getting into, and you're not going to do the numbers that we do. You're not going to double your money on a house. That's not the goal. But you're going to make sure that you make whatever your minimum is. I'm not going to do a house unless I make $100,000 kind of thing, and you back into it that way. And there's pricing things that he does a lot different. So
the difference is from flipping a house for us is that the asset itself, the house, needs a lot of attention. It's a regular occurrence for us to buy and resell successfully a piece of land without ever seeing it at all. In fact, that's part of the business model.
Right. And the same thing with that, like we don't visit land properties, we don't visit the houses, but somebody does on the house one.
Inspector.
Yeah.
Boots on the ground.
Right. There's somebody who has eyes on it, making sure that the foundation's not a cracked mess.
On the data side, we send an offer out that's based on the individual asset, the house. So if the internet believes the house is worth $180,000, we send out an offer for less, depending on how much money we want to make, and we line item by line item by line item price them that way. It's not hard.
Yeah.
It's very mechanized.
Yep. Good question, Mike.
Today's topic. Well, we're on Thursday, and we're talking about the 8 A's, as Jill said at the beginning of the episode. Today is attributes.
This is fun. You know, for me, the easiest way to think about this one is the minute this property comes in, the instant you have a spark like, oh gosh, I need to buy this because fill in the blank, that's it. Like, wow, look what's around here. Or, wow, look at that creek. Wow, look at those trees. Wow, it is smack downtown. Oh my, next to a Dollar Tree. Oh my gosh, this thing's going to be worth some dough. You're uncovering the attributes there. Attributes are distance, physical things, the beauty, maybe zoning, what's possible. There's all kinds of things that can be an attribute. And those attributes are how you remember the property. Like when I would do selling, when I would literally by myself answer all the calls for all the sellers and all the buyers, that would be how I remember the property. Like, oh gosh, yeah, the one with the pond. Oh my God, isn't that beautiful? So that's how I remember the property. And then B, that's what you put in your description. You know, beautiful pond, investor special, 20 acres, 3 miles from fill in the blank city. Like that, then we'd write our own descriptions and things when we were selling them. That's your attribute. That's what pulls you in. And what pulled you in is going to pull your buyer in. So, boy, you highlight those attributes.
There's 3 things that can happen when you're reviewing your acquisition candidate for attributes. And by the way, I believe attributes is one of the easiest A's to determine very quickly on the internet within a minute. Number 1, it's what Jill said. Oh, there's a stream running through it. It's fully. All the trees are still intact, or just there's something amazing about it, and so check, it passes. Everybody wants that. Everybody wants a stream running through the back and a little driveway that drives up to it. Like it's a Disney scene. The second possibility is nothing. It doesn't have any attributes. It's out in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, you can get to it. We got this far because it passed the access test, and so we're looking at it and saying, I mean, it's a great property. It's passing all the tests, but it is just out. The only use is probably going to be recreation.
And that could be the attribute then.
Right.
And thank goodness it's 40 acres.
In its current spot.
And people will love
State,
that.
it doesn't have any attributes. It's just, it's got potential.
Right.
And then the third possibility, and you want to run away when this happens, is it used to be the town dump.
Oh.
Or there used to be a gas station on it. Or it's next to a nuclear power plant. Or some really negative attribute that you want to, that it'll kill the deal. A deal killing attribute. So you're not testing a property for Disney scene like Jill always, look on the bright side of it,
Look at the
Jill.
deer.
Yeah. You really want to, in all kidding aside, look at it and see, well, yeah, they used to drill oil there and they don't anymore. You do not want an EPA property.
Can I tell a funny story real quick, which is so funny? So I have to pause here. We were looking at a property, like Jack said, we're in the Pacific Northwest, and it's just everywhere you look is magical. And it's fall. It's like every day is a Chamber of Commerce day, like Jack calls it. It's hilarious. So we're walking this property, beautiful apple tree, and I'm looking, and there's deer everywhere. Like you're scaring, you turn around the corner, you're like, excuse me, there's a deer right there, and there's deer poop everywhere. And so we happen to be walking with a woman in the neighborhood. She kind of sees what we're doing, kind of wanders over. Anyway, she's pointing out the different poop and pointing out that's bear. I'm like, oh boy, it's making me look at things. But that could be an attribute. Bear and deer frequent your property.
Attribute for Joe, I'll tell you that.
It is an attribute for me. It's true.
This
Not grizzly, black.
This property had a bunch of apple trees on it.
Yeah.
So it was really an attractant for
bears.
Wildlife in the area.
Yeah, they want that. It's really good. And right now they're bulking up for the winter, so that's totally what's going on.
Just to summarize, lack of attributes is not necessarily a deal killer, but if you do have a bunch of properties that you're looking at, which we'll talk about tomorrow, abundance, and one of them's got amazing attributes and another one doesn't, it pushes that property ahead on your acquisition schedule. And they're fun.
Mm-hmm.
Attributes are why we're in this. Attributes are why we all we do anyway go gaga over real estate.
Yep.
Think about a house. Think about attributes when you're buying and selling a house, or that's what HGTV is all about.
Like it's done. That's an attribute. It was remodeled a year ago.
If you've ever watched Property Brothers, which cracks me up, those two guys walk through a house that needs to be renovated with the potential new owners, and what are the first things that the new owners say? I hate this wallpaper.
Yeah.
And the two brothers are pretty serious smartasses about it. Well, no, we can't change that.
Exactly.
Why is this wall here? I don't know. We can't tear that wall down. They're so tired of it after how many years of whatever. So attributes are important with everything. Mm-hmm. Hopefully the person you're married to has some positive attributes.
I hope so.
It's a little too late.
Maybe.
If you didn't review your
yeah.
You didn't review your spouse for the 8 A's.
You know what? I'm going to come up. Wait, let's do this right now. Tomorrow's Friday. Here's what we're going to do is we're ending the show for Thursday. We're going to each write down 4 A's that you should have in a relationship, right?
Well, I think you should have all 8 A's.
Well, no, let's just do this. We're going to make up 4 relationship A's. Alive can be one of them. I love it. And you know what? Tune in tomorrow because we're going to each share our list, but we're going to keep them a secret until tomorrow. We'll really reveal them to you.
This is good.
Yep. You are not alone in your real estate ambition.
We are Jack and Jill. Information
and inspiration
to buy undervalued property.
We hope you found our content valuable and we appreciate your support. If you have not already, please check out our channel and hit the subscribe button.
And your comments and suggestions help us to create the content you're here for. Hitting the like button helps to support our channel's algorithm and gauge your interest for future shows.